if you see a triangle without a 90 degrees in particular, you can ask yourself, is the sine rule applicable here? Remember, for SOHCAHTOA, we need a 90 degrees in order to use it. But for sine rule, any triangle at all is applicable. It doesn't necessarily need to have a 90 degrees. We always use capital letters for angles. Capital letter A, capital letter B, capital letter C. And we use lower cases for sides. Where the arrow is facing is the side A, that's small letter A. The side B, which is small letter B. And the side C, which is small letter C. The sine rule states that if I want to work out the sides, the following rule is needful. A over sine A must be equal to B over sine B, and it must also be equal to C over sine C. This means that small letter A all over the angle of A must be equal to the side of B, which is small letter B, over the angle of B. It must also be equal to the side of C, that's small letter C, over the angle of C. But if I want to work out the angles, the same rule applies, but all we just have to do is to flip the fraction. For the angles, sine A all over the side of A must be equal to sine B all over the side of B, and it must also be equal to sine C all over the sine of C, the small c. Another thing we must note is that we always use the sine rule when we are given an angle, let's say angle 60 degrees, and a side opposite the given angle. Let's assume the side opposite the given angle is 10 centimeters. So whenever you are given a given angle, okay, whenever you are given a given angle and a side opposite that given angle, automatically what we are going to use is the sine rule. So please note when and when not to use the sine rule. We use the sine rule when an angle is given and a side is also given. The side must be opposite the given angle which we are given. Can we use Pythagoras theorem to solve for x? No, it is not a right angle triangle. Can we also use SOHCAHTOA to solve for the value for x? No, we can't use it because it is not a right angle triangle. Because we are given an angle and a side opposite it, automatically the formula we are going to use is the sine rule. Since we are asked to find x, and x is the side, not the angle, the side. Since we are looking for the side x, we apply this formula. Small letter a over sine A equal to b over sine B equal to c over sine C. We are not going to use the three of these. We either use a over sine A equal to b over sine B, or we use a over sine A equal to c over sine C, or we use b over sine B equal to c over sine C. Now, which of these are we going to use in respect to this question here? Now, if you look at this, angle A is given to be 40 degrees. Angle A is given to be 40 degrees. And side A is also given to be 10 centimeters. So we know the whole of this parameter here. We know all of them. We know side A, we know sine A. Now look at B. We don't know angle B, we don't know side B. So automatically we are not going to use the middle. So we are going to use sine C because the angle is given and we are also looking for the side because we are asked to find x centimeters. So the parameters here we are going to use will be a over sine A equal to c over sine C. Please, you must note that out of these four, 1, 2, 3, 4, we must have the knowledge of 3 parameters. We must have the knowledge of 3 parameters. Since A is given to be 10 centimeters, sine A, we know angle A to be 40 degrees. C, we don't know C, we are looking for C, which is the x. We also know sine C, that is the angle C, to be 60 degrees. So we know 1, 2, 3 parameters. So at least 3 out of the 4 parameters must be known in order for you to use any. So we are going to use A over sine A equal to C over sine C. Now, what is our A? We know that where capital letter A is facing is our small letter a. So our small letter A will be 10 centimeters. 10 centimeters, because our capital letter A is facing this way, so our small letter A will be 10 centimeters. While our capital letter A is the angle, which is 40 degrees. So if we are going to substitute, our A is 10 centimeters, A is 10 centimeters, while our sine A will become sine, our A is 40 degrees, so it becomes sine 40, okay? Now, what is our small letter C? Wherever the given angle of C is facing is our small letter C. So, based on this diagram, our small letter C is X, while sine C will become sine 60 degrees. Will become sine 60 degrees because the given angle for C is 60 degrees. Now, the next thing we are going to do here is to cross multiply to find the value of X. So by cross multiplying here, we are having X times sine 40, X times sine 40. Okay, we are going to multiply the two together. X times sine 40 is equal to 10 centimeters times sine 60. 10 times sine 60. Okay, so we are going to multiply those two together. 10 times sine 60. So to get the value for X, we divide both sides by sine 40 to make X the subject of formula. So if we are dividing both sides by sine 40, it becomes X times sine 40 over sine 40 equal to 10 times sine 60 over sine 40. So sine 40 will cancel out sine 40. So the answer will be X equal to 13.5 centimeters. Please, before you press this in your calculator, you have to make sure that your calculator is in degree mode so that you can get the correct answer. In this triangle, we are given angle A to be 54 degrees and side A to be 13.9 meters. That means our small a is 13.9 meters. We are also given angle B to be 67 degrees. We are asked to find B. We don't know angle C, and we are also asked to find side C. So since an angle and a side is given, we have a side opposite the given angle. That means we are going to use the sine rule. The sine rule states that A over sine A must be equal to B over sine B, which must also be equal to C over sine C. The next thing we are going to do here will be to fix in our parameters. But before we can fix in our parameters, we must note that A is given, which is 13.9 meters. Angle A is given, which is 54 degrees. We are looking for B, and angle B is also given, which is 67 degrees. So we are going to use these two parameters to solve this problem, since we are looking for the side of B. So to substitute here, our A becomes 13.9 degrees. So A is 13.9 degrees. So we are having sine. Our angle A is 54 degrees. 54 degrees. While our B is what we are looking for. So B remains B. Then sine B, our angle B now is 67 degrees. So we fix in 67 degrees. The next thing we are going to do here is to cross multiply. So cross multiplying, B is going to multiply sine 54 degrees. We have B times sine 54 degrees. B times sine 54 degrees is equal to 13.9 multiplied by sine 67 degrees. To find the value of B, what we are going to do will be to divide both sides by sine 54 degrees. I want to make B the subject of formula here. So if I'm dividing both sides by sine 54 degrees, I have B times sine 54 degrees all over sine 54 equal to 13.9 times sine 67 all over sine 54 degrees. So sine 54 will cancel out sine 54 degrees, remaining B. So if you punch this in your calculator, the answer you will get is 15.8. So we are having 15.8 meters. So we found our B to be 15.8 meters. The next thing we are going to do is to find our C, which is the given side. Which of these parameters are we going to use? We know A, we know sine A, we know B now, we also know angle B. We don't know C, we don't know angle C. So you can either use A over sine A equal to C over sine C, or you use B over sine B equal to C over sine C. Either of these two you want to use against this, you will still arrive at the same answer. But for the purpose of this example, I want to use A over sine A equal to C over sine C. The value of A is given, which is 13.9 meters. Our angle A is given to be 54 degrees, but we don't know C and we don't know angle C. So how do we get angle C? We can't solve this problem until we figure out the angle for C. Now look at this triangle. I want you to know that sum of angles in a triangle is equal to 180 degrees. So looking for this angle, how do we get it? It becomes 180 degrees minus the addition of 54 degrees plus 67 degrees. 67 degrees. So this now becomes 180 degrees minus 54 plus 67 is equal to, if you add them up, you are going to get 121 degrees. So 180 minus 121 degrees will be equal to 59 degrees. So our C is equal to 59 degrees. So since we've gotten angle C to be 59 degrees, we can now use this formula to find for side C. So to substitute into this formula, our A is equal to 13.9. So we put in A as 13.9. Our sine A will become sine 54 degrees. Will become sine 54 degrees. Our C, we don't know C, we are looking for C, so C remains C. Y sine C becomes this is C, so our sine C becomes sine 59 degrees. Since we have gotten the angle for C to be 59 degrees, so it becomes sine 59 degrees. So cross multiplying, our C will multiply sine 54 degrees. So we're having C times sine 54 degrees, which is equal to 13.9 times sine 59 degrees. Sine 59 degrees. Now what we are going to do here will be to divide both sides by sine 54 degrees in order for us to find our C. So by the time we cancel sine 54 and sine 54, we are going to have C is equal to the whole of this figure here. So if you punch this figure in your calculator, the answer you will get is 14.7 meters. So our C is equal to 14.7 meters. In triangle PQR, angle R is 53 degrees, side Q is 3.6 meters, side R is 4.3 meters. We are asked to find Q. Before we can solve this problem, we need to represent these parameters in a triangle. How are we going to do it? The first thing we are going to do is to draw our triangle. So if this is our triangle, we don't know angle P, we don't know side P, but we are told that angle R, that's the capital letter R, is 53 degrees. So you replace with 53 degrees. We were told that small letter R is 4.3 meters, 4.3 meters. We don't know angle Q, but we were told that small letter Q, which is the side of Q, is 3.6 meters. We are asked to find Q. How are we going to find it? Now, because we are given an angle and a side opposite that angle, automatically we are going to use the sine rule. So to solve for angle Q, we are going to apply the sine rule. We are given triangle P, Q, and R. So applying the sine formula, we can replace A, B, C with P, Q, and R, since the label given to us was PQR, to simplify the work. Now we are asked to find angle Q. We don't know what angle Q is. We are asked to look for angle Q. Automatically we are going to use the middle one. Now, which of these are we going to also use to attach to this to solve for angle Q? You must make sure that 3 out of 4 parameters is given. Okay, 3 out of 4 parameters is given. If you are using P over sine P, equal to Q over sine Q, you must make sure that 3 out of this 4 is given to you. Now, let's look. P, that's small letter P, the side of P is not given. Angle P is not given. Q, that's the side Q, is given to be 3.6 meters. We don't know angle Q. So in this parameter, we just have 1 out of 4 given to us. So automatically we cannot use this. Now let's go to this other one. We know our side R to be 4.3 meters. We know angle R to be 53 degrees. We know side Q to be 3.6 meters. And we are asked to find angle Q. So using this parameter, 3 out of 4 is given. So automatically we are using Q over sine Q equal to R over sine R. The next thing we are going to do is to substitute these figures. We are going to substitute the value for Q, the value for angle Q, the value for side R, and the value for angle R. We are going to substitute to see how it looks like. So substituting, we have our Q, which is the side of Q, to be 3.6 meters. So we write 3.6 meters in place of Q. 3.6 meters. Now our sine Q is what we are looking for, so we still maintain our sine Q. Our R, which is the side of R, is 4.3 meters. So anywhere we see R, we put 4.3 meters. That's 4.3. Then our sine R, angle R is 53 degrees. So we can have sine 53 degrees. So when we have fixed our parameters this way, the next thing we are going to do is to cross multiply. So we have 4.3 times sine Q is equal to 3.6 times sine 53 degrees. Now I want to make sine Q the subject of formula, so I divide both sides by 4.3. So if we divide both sides by 4.3, we cancel out 4.3, will leave us with sine Q equal to the whole of this. So if you get this with your calculator, you are going to get 0.6686. But we are asked to find Q, not sine Q. So what we will do is to get the sine inverse of this value. So you can take your calculator and get the sine inverse. Just type sine inverse of 0.6686. The value you will get is 42 degrees. So Q is equal to 42 degrees. What if we are asked to find angle P? How do we get angle P? Since angle Q is given to be 42 degrees, angle R is given to be 53 degrees. So to get P will not be difficult because sum of angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. So by the time we subtract the addition of these two from 180 degrees, the value we get is the angle of P.